is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
How good is that?
Hi, welcome to the EduKate podcast. This is Kate. I'm here with Jess and Lizzie, my Swifties. I am learning so much. I'm sounding like an expert in the car with my 9-year-old daughter, but there is still much to learn ahead of the concerts.
Definitely.
Which are only around the corner. Lizzie, you have something to take me through today.
I do. So what I want to talk about today is Taylor's version and what that means. So you've probably seen, obviously, over the past few years, she's been re-releasing her albums and naming them Taylor's version.
Yes.
And people kind of get what it means, the gist of it. But, you know, with Taylor, there's always deeper roots as to why she does things, and we're going to go through what the importance is leading up to the Eras tour as to why it's so significant that she's been re-recording her albums and taking back her voice, essentially.
What was hers. Now, because the way I've relayed this to my daughter and what she has told me, when we choose to listen to Taylor in the car, she thinks she's a little bit of an expert. She'll say, and I know, Mummy, we are listening to 1989 Taylor's version, and that's because they're Taylor's song, and that means she gets the money. But I'm guessing that's the top line kind of business. But as you're saying, there's always way more to it.
Yes, there always is with her, and that's why we love her. So we're going to go through why she decided to do it, how it all began. It's not the nicest of stories, and we're going to go through what someone called Scooter Braun has to do with it.
I thought his name would come up. He is also Justin Bieber's was manager or something like.
So
who is this guy?
Yeah, so he manages Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande, and at one point Kanye West.
Okay.
So all those people, especially Kanye, you can imagine there's already... that would be a separate episode in itself, and we won't do that.
Too much. We'd have to beat the whole thing.
Correct.
And Lizzie, am I right in saying as well the importance of talking through Taylor's version in relation to the Eras tour, because we are on the countdown, is that there almost wouldn't be what we now know as the Eras tour without the Taylor's versions having happened.
100%.
And because of these re-releases, we've now got all these new songs from the vault. We're looking back at all the past albums and the eras, and she decided, I've got all this music out that maybe people are hearing for the first time because they might have joined, in the pandemic and listened to Folklore, that they're now going back each time I re-release an album and they're into these eras, so why don't we put a whole tour together? So off like 100%. Quite a bad thing, which you'll talk us through, we've actually got this great thing, which is the Eras tour, which we're counting down to.
Do you think she's waited to do this tour until... everything's well planned. Do you think she's waited to do this tour in particular and revisit all of the albums when she kind of owns the music? Is that how? Is that? When you say it wouldn't have happened, it wouldn't happen without Taylor's version?
Yeah, no, it just wouldn't happen in the way that the way that the Eras tour is broken down is that each era, minus I think debut, sort of get their own moment where you get like a stack of 5 or so songs.
Yeah.
I think it's why the concert's so long at like 3.5 hours or whatever. Normally you'd just get the new album, which we would be hearing midnights.
Yep.
And then you'd get like your Love Story, You Shake It Off, those sort of songs that everyone knows because she knows that they're crowd favourites.
Yeah.
Instead, we're getting these huge blocks of different songs and getting to relive each era with her.
Okay.
But the other thing to note is that when we went into that pandemic, she was actually meant to tour Lover, the album, which came out in 2019. That all got put on hold because of the pandemic. Then she released Folklore and Evermore, and then since Midnights, which means we have all these albums that haven't had a tour. So she kind of has to do an Eras tour.
Okay, it's time.
It is time. It's time.
Okay.
So if we go all the way back to 2005, guys, when she was 15, she was signed a record deal with Big Machine Records, which was owned by someone we know as the Devil, but we'll call him Scott Borchetta. And she was with them for 10 years. So she recorded Debut, it's known as Debut, but it's also titled Taylor Swift, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, and Reputation. So she recorded all those albums with that label. So then, fast forward to 2019, Scooter Braun comes along, and he purchased Big Machine Records for $300 million. The reason that that's an issue is because Taylor was already in the process of trying to buy her music back from Big Machine Records and from Scott Borchetta. They never reached a deal that felt satisfactory to her, and so she was planning to leave anyway, but she was always planning to leave her music behind, as she penned in a post on Tumblr to her fans. Back then she was very active on Tumblr. She was in her little Tumblr era.
When you mean leave the music behind, you mean with that record label?
Yeah.
That's... I can't take it with me.
I think the deal that he offered her, if I remember this correctly, was for each album she then released, so it stopped at Reputation, which I think was her 7th album.
Yeah.
For each next album she released, she would then
buy one
own
back.
one of her albums before. So essentially she had to give him 7 more albums in order to own 14.
Okay.
And that just wasn't a deal that sat well with her.
No, and rightfully so. I just think that's so
He just would have owned
manipulative.
her forever, basically.
So she made the big brave decision to leave, but what she didn't know, and what she found out at the time when it became public news, was that Scooter Braun had bought Big Machine Records for $300 million. And the reason she was so upset by that, I mean, she would have been upset regardless, but the reason that she was so upset by that is because she'd already had a difficult, complicated past with Scooter.
Okay.
Because Scooter managed Kanye and Justin, who she'd had a few issues with, obviously being besties with Selena. You know, that breakup was messy. She's always got Selena's back, but especially with Kanye, as we know, which we obviously won't go into. She was devastated. She was absolutely devastated. She says in a grab I'm about to play you that she'd had so many conversations with Scott Borchetta about how much she was uncomfortable with Scooter Braun in general. And in her Tumblr post, she penned in her letter to the fans, she said, "All I could think about was the incessant manipulative bullying I've received at Scooter Braun's hands for years, like when Kim Kardashian orchestrated an illegally recorded snippet of a phone call to be leaked, and Scooter got his 2 clients together to bully me online about it. Now Scooter has stripped me of my life's work that I wasn't given an opportunity to buy. Essentially, my musical legacy is about to lie in the hands of someone who tried to dismantle it." So that's actually in reference to an Instagram that Justin Bieber uploaded. The day that this news came out, Justin Bieber uploaded a screenshot of him on a FaceTime call to Scooter and Kanye and captioned it, "Taylor Swift, what up?" Which, in terms of silencing women and silencing women's voices, it's just so... I just find that so hurtful.
There was another one at the time, I remember, and Scooter had posted it on his story. You know when someone uploads and tags you and you can reshare? And it was them all drinking whiskey in like a bar. It was the picture of the article that got released saying that she bought it, that he'd bought the masters. And the friend had captioned, when Scooter Braun buys Taylor Swift and now owns her, and then he had reshared that to his story.
Yeah.
And I think that just didn't sit well
There's
at all.
another whole level to it, isn't it? Because it's not, I mean, the music industry is a business like any other business, but I guess when you personalise it like that and not only knowingly make deals like this behind the scenes that you know is going to be a thorn in Taylor's side. I can't believe not only do I not have my music, but now Scooter even has it.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, act like silly, well, not even, let's not call them silly. Let's call them nasty and vindictive.
Yeah, 100%.
Grown-ups acting like uneducated children, kind of almost making fun.
Yeah, it's rubbing salt in the wound. And I think that's it, right? Because if you think about it, the deal that Scott offered Taylor, which is for each album you give me, you can buy one back, that was never going to be the same deal that Scooter got because there's no albums going there. So instead he's just said, yep, for 330 mil or whatever it is, you can have them. I think Taylor's problem was she had that money and wanted to buy that, but he wouldn't let her. It was, you either give me the albums and you get it, or you're cut out of the process. You get nothing.
Oh, and he sold it to his mate.
And Scott Borchetta knew that Taylor was really uncomfortable by Scooter always.
So he's stuck the knife in her.
Yeah.
100%. So then enter Kelly Clarkson, beautiful Kelly Clarkson. We love her. So when this all broke, it was obviously all over social media everywhere. Taylor Swift obviously wrote that beautiful letter to her fans about it. She actually asked the fans to, you know, go to Scott and Scooter on socials and try and help her get it back, you know. And she talked about, these are the songs that I've written sitting on my bedroom floor, like these are my feelings and my voice and my experience, and how is it even possible that something that I've lived through I no longer own anymore?
For want of a better analogy, it's like her babies or
Yeah,
her
totally.
everything.
It's a piece of her.
It is absolutely
And I think
a
it
piece
goes
of
back
her.
to like women's lived experiences. It can never just be, you know, what she created was so powerful and it was valid because it was just her feelings and that was enough, and they were her words and that was enough. And to have that stripped away from her, horrific.
Yeah.
So Kelly Clarkson actually tweeted in response to all this. She said, "Just a thought, you should go in and re-record all the songs that you don't own the masters on, exactly how you did them, but put brand new art and some kind of incentive so fans will no longer buy the old versions. I'd buy all of the new versions just to prove a point." And thus begun Taylor's version. And Taylor's actually credited Kelly for that idea since, which I think is really beautiful.
I think Kelly's come out and said every time a new album re-release drops, Taylor sends her flowers with a note saying thank you again.
Yeah.
So it was smart by
It was a
Kelly.
really beautiful moment of like women in the music industry.
Well, and solidarity, I guess.
100%.
And also, I'm guessing Kelly would know more than most exactly what it feels like to be emotionally connected to your work.
Yeah.
This isn't just a pop song that somebody's handed you and said, can you bop about and sing it? Taylor writes from her heart. They are her stories. She's not singing other people's ditties. Well, it's the same as if I painted a beautiful piece of art and then it belonged to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a song and because we hear it on the radio, we download it, we somehow think we have higher level of ownership over it than the artist themselves.
Yeah. And not just somebody else, a man.
Yeah.
First of all, a man, gross. Second of all, a man who's tried to, as she said, like dismantle her for a while.
Yeah.
You know?
It's all
the
strategy.
enemy. Yeah, it's the enemy, really.
And I think the other thing to note is like you're right in that it's not just a generic pop star in, I'm sure the lyrics mean a lot to a lot of people, but Taylor's really known for her songwriting. Like, I'm pretty sure when she went to jury duty, you had to write your profession and she writes songwriter. Like, she doesn't see herself as like singer first, it's songwriter. And then we see in the Miss Americana documentary, like some of these lyrics come literally straight from her diary.
Yeah.
So it's like she's opened that up and been vulnerable, and then for someone to take that, it just wouldn't sit right, would it?
And be a bit like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, exactly. And toasting
That's
yourself.
almost the worst part of it.
Awful.
This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
So then she officially announced that she was doing the Taylor's versions re-records, which she announced on a CBS morning interview, which we'll play for you now.
I knew he would sell my music. I knew he would do that. I couldn't believe who he sold it to, because we've had endless conversations about Scooter Braun, and he has 300 million reasons to conveniently forget those conversations.
Now, could you re-record?
Oh, yeah.
Might you do that?
Oh, yeah.
That's a plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how she's so like, oh yeah.
Even back then, she knew. She saw the next 5 years just flash up. This one, that one, Vault Tracks, and then 10-minute version of All Too Well.
Yeah. So now she's with her new record label, and she officially owns Love of Folklore, Evermore and Midnights, because they all came after she moved. But now, with the re-release of Taylor's versions, she's only got 2 left to claim as her own, which are Reputation and Debut, which is also known as Taylor Swift. And fans are actually thinking that Reputation and Taylor Swift are going to drop maybe even within the month or a couple of weeks.
And as a double drop is what you're thinking. And that's the other thing people are saying. She's taken everything back. The only thing left to claim is her reputation and her name. So it's quite poetic in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You
nice.
like that?
Oh,
Yeah. I don't have
You got little
goosies.
chibis.
It's kind of it almost sounds like it's well planned
I feel like
Making
she's
the best of a bad
always-
situation.
or well managed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's exciting for Taylor Swift fans. I mean, not only the world over, but most certainly here in Australia. Is this the last leg of the tour?
No, she's going on well into next year.
Yeah, this tour is huge. She might even do another year of it.
Yeah. Some songs that you probably need to know leading up to the Eras tour that are about Scooter Braun, speculated to be about, that you can scream at the top of your lungs with all the female rage that we all have deep inside of us.
Some more than most.
Some a little higher up in the surface.
So Vigilante Shit from Midnights is heavily speculated to be about Scooter. And I'll play you some of the lyrics now.
She needed cold hard proof, so I gave her some. She think she got it from? Now she gets the house, gets the kids, gets the pride. Picture me thick as thieves with your ex-wife, and she looks so pretty, driving in your Benz. Lately she's been dressing for revenge.
That's heavily speculated to be a bit of a jab at Scooter about his divorce.
I didn't know that. I love that
And
song
I just
regardless. But
I
now
love
I love
the
it more.
thought of her writing that song and being like, not only have I messed up your marriage, I'm helping with the divorce, I'm also going to call your wife hot in a song.
Yeah.
The ultimate revenge.
It's so good. It's so good.
Surely Taylor wouldn't meddle.
Not metal, I just think, look,
think-
who knows if that's fact or
I
fiction,
know,
but I do
it's a
love
bit
the
of
thought
fun.
of it.
Yeah,
It's so fun, and especially what he put her through. I just love now she's putting the knife in a bit,
100%.
Well, there
Twist
must
it,
be.
girlfriend.
I mean, when you're telling me these stories about Scooter Braun, all I can think of is that when she's on the cover of Time magazine, when she's winning awards, when she's all of these accolades around billion-dollar businesswoman, I'm surely there's a moment quietly in her bathroom, if she ever gets a moment to herself, where she thinks, I really hope he saw that today.
Oh,
I mean, he's
100%.
obviously going to see it, but do you know, like, to actually stop down for a bit and go, you know what? If anyone reads this story today, I really hope it's my old mate.
Yeah.
Scoots. I reckon she's like to her mum, she's like, Mum, that little piece of I've absolutely...
Yeah.
But then when she's writing the lyrics, she just writes something as nice as your nemesis will defeat themselves before they get a chance to swing.
She's far more articulate than we are.
Behind the scenes.
Especially in
she's
her
tearing them.
rage. I'm not that articulate in my rage.
No, but you know what? I mean, what do they say? What's the saying? I'm not good with sayings. It is something that there's nothing scarier than a woman's scorn.
Yes.
And if you're ever having an argument with a woman, when they just kind of
go quiet,
drop right down and quiet, that's like when she's singing that song, the Vigilante, like listen to her tone.
Yep.
She's scary.
Yeah, she is, and we love her for it. So the next song from Midnights that also is heavily speculated to be about Scooter and Scott Borchetta as well is Karma.
Spider boy, king of thieves, weave your little webs of opacity. My pennies made your crown. Trick me once, trick me twice. Don't you know that cash ain't the only price? It's coming back around.
I love that. My pennies made your crown. I love that line.
No, the best bit is the first two words. Let me play it again.
Spider boy.
Spider Boy, SB, Scooter Braun, Scott Borchetta.
So good.
Oh, that's really obvious.
And also-
I mean, come on, Taylor.
If you're looking for it, really obvious. But if you're just singing along in the car, you wouldn't really know. So it's nice that we get to uncover it.
Because then now when you're at the concert, you're going to be like, I know who and what she's
I
talking
know, because
about.
I like it anyway, but now this creates a whole new
And
layer.
don't you know that cash ain't the only prize? Love that.
Yeah.
Slay girlfriend. And then the last song, which we actually asked you to listen to.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, we need to get your review of this song at the end of the ep, and that's what we're going to do every week. Kate's going to get a new song, which wasn't a single, as a new Swiftie, and give us her review, having only heard it, a handful of times.
So, My Tears Ricochet, which is from Folklore, one of my favourite songs personally.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this morning. You can view it in so many ways. It can be a love song, a separation song, a divorce song, or whatever. But when you listen to it through the lens of how devastated she is about being let down by somebody who was like a father to her, Scott Borchetta was like a father to her for so many years, I think it stings in a whole new different way. So we'll play you a little bit from that.
And I can go anywhere I want, just not home. And you can leave on my heart, go for blood, but you would still miss me in your bones. And I still talk to you when I'm sleeping in the sky. And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my soul in the
actually getting
Lullabies kind of
teary.
feels a bit different now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Put that spin on it.
Exactly.
I mean, that song, because with Taylor's songs, they're so open to interpretation. I think that's the best bit. That, like you were saying, that this song relates to you in a different way that it might relate to Taylor when she wrote it. But when I listen to this song, I can just hear the whole story of her masters being sold out from underneath her.
Yeah.
And like, I was listening to a different podcast this morning and there was a woman talking about this song and she was saying that line about I can go anywhere that I want but just not home.
Yes.
She's like, home can be so many different things. It could be the record label because she knows she can never go back.
Yeah.
But most importantly, because those songs are now gone, it's like those journals and those feelings she had were home and she's lost them and she doesn't have anywhere to go or to put those feelings anymore. It's just such a powerful song and such a great
And you'll see at the
song as
concert,
well.
it's one of the songs she sings with the most conviction and the most emotion, and it's the time where everybody's putting their arms around each other and crying because it's so, you feel it so deeply. Like, I just thought I was going to cry just then. That's obviously a separate issue, but like, it's so powerful, and I love that. Like, I can go anywhere I want, I just can't like go home to myself. Yeah.
Okay.
So all in all,
Are you okay?
yeah.
Lizzie might need to take a minute.
Yeah.
All in all, it's incredible that what she's done with Taylor's versions. It's truly amazing, iconic, show-stopping. But I think it's important that you have all this backstory before you go to the concert so you can feel into it just as deeply as we're all going to, about her reclaiming her voice. And that's like where her feminism lies. That's her whole thing of like, if I want to write about boys on my bedroom floor, that's valid enough just because it's what I want to say.
Yeah.
And no man can ever take that from me, and he won't ever again.
Powerful stuff, Lizzie.
How do you feel?
I know we've done other EduKate podcasts, but we talked a lot about maybe a bit more of the gossip around, or maybe whereas I think this is really interesting, and I think this is what knowing these stories about her make her so much more interesting, and you kind of want to. It's like it's a Taylor religion, isn't it? Because now that I'm armed with this information, and don't worry, I can't call myself a Swiftie just yet. You want to knock on everyone's door and say, "Look, I know you think you know Taylor, but you ain't heard anything yet."
Yeah.
You ain't been educated.
You haven't been educated yet, and as you said, to have so much more depth around the songs and the experience that will be the concert, I think is actually really nice. Was that a bit heavy and
No,
deep
I
and
love
sweet?
that. We're getting
The Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
I think to wrap it up, why don't you talk us through, because we challenged you to listen to My Tears Ricochet. Yes. Obviously, the Taylor discography is huge, Kate. I don't know how we're going to get through it in the next 26 days.
Well, we
it
won't.
Yeah, we probably won't. But we signalled this song out, or we picked this song for you because it is such an important one in this story. So you had to listen to it, My Tears Ricochet. What's your takeout from it? What did you think while you were listening to it?
Well, it's funny that we've covered a little bit of My Tears Ricochet today, because now I'm thinking about Taylor and Scooter Braun and perhaps the stolen lullabies. But for me, and I'm thinking this may be where you're coming from too, Lizzie, is that it's a story of heartache and a broken heart, and much more than a broken heart, but like a really ugly, messy, soul-destroying parting of ways.
Yeah, spot on.
That is kind of, and I don't know if there's a clip. Is there a video clip?
No.
Oh, because I refrained from looking for it because I thought she's going to deliver me maybe like, am I going to see Taylor Swift in a coffin? Because it felt like it was the death of something.
Oh,
you
yes.
know? And the fact that well, I'm assuming, and for me, maybe as far as relationships go, the man's there, the ex-boyfriend or the ex-husband, and he knows how painful it is, and there's that my favourite line is very early on where she sings, "Even on my worst day, did I deserve, babe, all the hell you gave me?" And that actually makes me really upset even saying that, because even the way I've listened to this song 1,000 times before you even asked me to, is that part of the verse is actually quite soft, and it feels like she's a bit broken, and there's a bit of begging going on, like, do I really why did you do this? Why are we here? I'm a bit dead inside.
Yep.
You know it. I know it. And not only do you know it, and then she gets a bit angry.
Yeah,
This is
and then
me.
she fires up.
And she's like, not only do you know that this is all so painful, and I really broke down and I didn't handle it with grace. I couldn't kind of
That's my favourite bit.
go with grace. This is not the best version of me. Part of that is to do with you. And the worst thing is that you've rocked up here acting like you're sad about this,
Yep.
when in actual fact, my downfall has been at your hands.
I love it.
But do you know, I don't know, that's what just quietly, that's what I get out of it.
100% agree. Like, as I said to you guys on our little Taylor text chain, it was my breakup song, and I love that bit of, I didn't have it in myself to go with grace.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it in me for so many reasons, one of them being how you treated me.
Yeah, and it's the perfect song to finish out my review. It's a good one to have a cry to. I know you've said you've had a cry before, and I think the tears, My Tears Ricochet is like, because I think sometimes when you go through hard things, whatever it may be, and for us maybe, is that it doesn't matter how much pain you're feeling and how many tears you cry, you're not even feeling, I feel alone in this.
Yeah.
My tears ricochet, kind of, they bounce off you,
Yeah.
and you're still being this person, and you're holding court, and you're acting as though you're wishing I'd stayed.
I didn't even think about it
I
like
didn't
that.
think of
I
it like that
love
either. That it's like all
The
and
what?
that
what
all,
you said was
like,
so beautiful.
so upsetting, and you're so distraught over it. You're crying, and then the tears just ricochet off that person. They don't even
Isn't
care.
that what it means?
Well, like, yeah, that
Yeah, but
is
I've
so
never
obvious,
thought of
but
it.
Correct.
Oh.
And so what you've just said is like hit home in a really deep way, obviously for both of us right now.
I'm sorry.
That's a great way of looking at
we
it.
can't end on a sad
And
note.
that's now I'm just on a roll now.
Yeah.
But like that's what's really painful about those things, that when you think you're alone in it,
Yeah.
and you're the guy, and you're out there living your greatest life, and none of my pain is affecting you at all.
And you helped me so much with my breakup. I'm getting emotional. Turn me off. Turn my mic off.
Okay, Lizzie's going down. What I need from Kate is the
Thank you. At least I do something good around here.
that and 7 till 9.
And I haven't invoiced you for that
Oh,
therapy
yeah, it's
either.
coming. It's coming.
Kate, out of 10, what do you rate the song? Like, how does it sit for you?
Well, I think it's one of my favourites, but I'm loath to give it too many. But I'm giving it an 8.
Yeah, I could have picked you giving it an 8.
Really?
100%.
Conservative 8? Is that too conservative?
No,
I think that's
that's
appropriate.
good. That's good.
I
I mean,
love it.
we'll delve into in each week another song, and we can see where your ratings actually
Yes,
sit.
okay,
I mean, if
good.
some of them get a little higher than others, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
But
We'll tell you when to calm down.
that's right.
We'll be like, you need to calm down.
and then she'll say me, and we'll be like, look what you made us do. Yes.
When we're not talking about Taylor Swift, we are listening to her.
Sure are.
Can't get enough of her.
Nova Taylor's version, guys, is where it's at. It's our 24/7 Taylor Swift station.
All a day, every day. It's available now to stream via the Nova website and the Nova Player app.
I've even jumped on there, announced some of the songs, picked my
Hell
favourites,
yeah.
played them.
Have you?
Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Because you're a queen.
You're a busy girl.
I just loved it. Loved introing it. Like, there's nothing better than
I had to
sitting on the
listen to
Taylor
you.
station and just listening to 24/7 Taylor.
Oh, I'm really trying to think of a lyric of a song or the name of a song to tell you to, like...
Well, what do you want to articulate? And I'll pick one off the Taylor 24/7 station.
You're working so hard.
That's because I'm the man.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.